guiding light is all I know. Through wood and steel, through fire and lace, I'm blessed to walk within your grace. Is to a throig arcane. You laid the path before me. You guided every step. Raise the hammer, string the bow. Her gift is all I need to know. Through toil and trial, through heart and hand, her grace builds up this mighty land. Is the glass the dead time it's so? Build the land, our hearts within. From dawn till dusk, I work, I strive. With your blessing, I'll survive. The loom, the forge, the sword, the grain in your name, I rise again. And chill, got Bua, got Tolan, got Trio. In you lies strength, in you lies skill. Each victory, each talent, each trial. No task too great, no skill too small. Your gifts, dear goddess, guide us all. Into force. Without your light, we have no guide, but with your hand, our place abides. Raise the hammer, string the bow. Her gift is all I need to know. Through toil and trial, through heart and hand, her grace builds up this mighty land. Is the grass the dead? Our greatest deed, by the grace of the goddess we are free. We'll build the land, our hearts within. I'm blessed to walk within your grace. Blessed by her grace, forever.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Pax Dei Search for Steel. And yeah, my audio changed a little bit, so hopefully it's okay. I was gonna try to do something a little bit different tonight, but I really just decided against it. So, in light of that, I am still preparing for, now we have a date, June 11th, for verse 3. I am going to go into Mary Gale again, so if anybody wants to join me, they're more than welcome to. And I will bring as much stuff with me as possible. They really haven't given an idea of what they're doing with all the stuff I currently have, but I have an idea that they'll go into a refunded items bin like this. So I'm hoping, not necessarily gonna have it, but I'm hoping they do something simple. So if they do, great, I'm ready. If they don't, you're gonna see a lot of rebuilding happening, and that's okay. We are okay with that, right? All right, that's just new stuff that I'll get in when I transfer into the actual verse 3. We do have a character, a couple. I might actually have a guild when I transfer. So this verse 3 might actually be a little bit more MMORPG I'm not sure though. I'm not sure if they're gonna come to this area or not, and I'm not sure if I want to stay on this lake or not. The map is that isn't really changing all that much. I might try to build down here, closer to this. Although I'm really close to everything here, which is interesting. Anyway, a little strategy to start out our latest episode. So this is the continuation of 149. So in our last episode, and this is 150, by the way, we're in the heart of our series on habits, values, and real change. So in our last episode, we broke down how tiny, consistent habits can shape your identity and reflect your deepest values, whether at home, at work, or even in your favorite MMORPGs. We talked about about habit stacking, environmental design, identity-based routines, and making small changes that add up over time. But if you've ever tried to change a habit, keep one going, you know, the journey isn't always smooth. That's why we're diving into today what happens when we stumble, get off track, or realize our routines aren't serving us. How do we realign with our values when life gets messy? Today's episode is all about realignment and resilience. We'll look at practical tools for handling setbacks, stories of people who turn things around after slipping up, and how to recover without falling into the trap of guilt or perfectionism. And just a heads up, next time in episode 151, we'll pull all of these threads together and we'll talk about writing your legacy through your daily actions and offer some powerful exercises to help you carry these ideas into your own story or your own life story. So settle in. Let's get honest and real about the process of change, the kind that lasts. All right, let's see. What are we going to do in the meantime? As in the background, I am playing the game, as always. What do I need? I always need... Always. All right, so let's... might have to get some wood. Let's see what we got. Starting on this episode. The heartwood is ridiculous. So we're going to try to fill up as much heartwood as we can. Let's see. I'll take all that I can, but I got heartwood somewhere else. I gotta go get it. These little ones only take basic sapwoods, so I'll just fire these things up. Because heartwood is not exactly the easiest thing to get in quantity, so that's why you do sapwood generators, if you will. Or charcoal, right? Charcoal generators. Let's see what I can do with this. Yeah, I didn't think there was going to be a lot. It's more expensive, but you get a lot of it. Let me throw some more, and I have to read my notes and play the game at the same time. That's why I was trying to... Let me see if I can... No, I'm not going to test it today. Not going to test it today. I was going to test some audio I recorded earlier. And see if playing over the game with the audio playing would be a better setup for the lectures, but honestly, I'm nowhere near what I should be. So, right, we almost have enough. I just need more hardwood. Just hardwood. So Front. That's not fun. That's 17. I shouldn't have taken that. Actually, you know what? Now I have 47. That's cool. Where else is my... Good. Maybe upstairs. Let's go upstairs. I have to take a little increment sit there. Go upstairs. And it gives us an opportunity in the new world to actually build another house. So I'm kind of stoked about that, actually, because I'm going to try to design something. And of course, the clan's going to be right next to me, so there's going to be a lot of property, and they're going to want to do stuff to make everything shiny. And I'm going to be like solo player, but I don't know. I hope they'll tolerate me. I know if my skills translate to verse 3, they will love me, because that's what you do. You have a lot of skills like I have, and I'm sure they're bringing their characters, so they'll probably have just as many, if not more. So we'll actually be a very skilled clan, guild, whatever. I think it's clans. So hopefully, it's hoping to plenty of access, huh? Not so much. You know what? I have plenty of them. That's good. Woo. That's the express elevator right there. And yes, to use the express elevator, you have to say woo. So, in that manner. Woo. Yep, you got it. Okay, otherwise, it won't function. Software just will tear you apart. It'll be like, nope, can't do it. You are not allowed to jump without the woo sound. Okay, let's go into... Oh, I've been playing Shrouded on the other channel as well, or on the same channel, technically. I just don't call it Pax Dei. I did make Emphyr again. Well, a different version of Emphyr, but Emphyr nonetheless. I don't know what I'm looking for there. I'm like, what the heck am I looking for here? What I'm looking for is this axe. Yeah, I'll throw it away, because I need more. More wood. Let's go get some heart. Alright, so now with our conversation on values and beliefs and changing stuff, let's turn our focus to the workplace. I'm just looking for a certain tree, so it's going to be... All right, our professional lives and organizations as well. We're going to compile all of them. We'll examine the habits through that lens, right? So, workplace, professional lives, and organizations. That's the lens we'll be using. Now, whether you work in a small team, a large corporation, or you're a student or a volunteer, we all know that workplaces and schools alike, and etc., right, have their own cultures. And what is culture, really? But a collection of shared habits, routines, and norms. As management guru Peter Drucker famously implied, culture eats strategy for breakfast. The everyday habits in a workplace, how meetings are run, how people communicate, and how decisions are made. These speak volumes about the true values at play, regardless of what's written on the company mission statement. I think I got one. Think about an organization that says that it values innovation. But in practice, every suggestion is met with the habit of, that's not how we do things around here. That stated value and the habitual behavior are at odds. The employees will notice the dissidence immediately. On the flip side, consider a team that values transparency and has a daily stand-up meeting where each member openly shares what they're working on, where they're stuck. That simple daily habit, which is the stand-up, reinforces the value of openness. It creates an environment where transparency isn't just a poster on the wall, it's a lived routine. So just as in personal life, in the workplace, small habits can align or misalign, right? With values, that is. But here we have an added twist at work, right? Habits in the workplace are often collective. You might have a personal work habit, like how you organize your email or whether you take breaks at all. I've known people who didn't. But there are also shared habits, and which are team practices and company rituals. These can powerfully shape a group values. Remember, Confucius's point that shared cultural habits play a crucial role in moral development. In an office, a shared habit like weekly kudos session where team members publicly thank somebody can embed the value of appreciation into the culture, or a habit of always addressing conflicts in person rather than email, and that can reflect the value of respect, right? So let's illustrate with a real world example. One famous case is Alcoa, the aluminum company. When Paul O'Neill became CEO of Alcoa in the 1980s, I think it was, he shocked everybody by declaring his top priority wasn't profits or productivity, but worker safety. Safety was a value he wanted to ingrain. His words. To do this, O'Neill focused on one keystone habit, I should say. Every single injury had to be reported and reviewed within 24 hours of it occurring, directly to him. He implemented a routine where any safety incident triggered a very specific habit loop in the organization. Immediate reporting, analysis, and action. It seemed odd to investors at first. They were like, what about profits? But I don't know why I said it that way. But by focusing on one critical habit and value, a cascade of positive changes followed. Workers started to feel truly valued. Communication up and down the hierarchy improved because you can't hide an injury. You talk about problems openly. Efficiency increased as they fixed safety issues, often productivity issues in disguise, right? And ultimately, Alcoa's performance soared. Over O'Neill's tenure, Alcoa's market value multiplied and became one of the safest companies to work for. This story highlighted in Charles Duhigg's The Power of Habit shows how one values-driven habit in the workplace, in this case, a routine around safety, acted as a keystone that spread throughout the entire company, influencing processes related to quality, morale, and more. They didn't go into it specifically what, but just more. And I leave that up to your imaginations. So what can we learn from Alcoa? Well, firstly, identify keystone habits that reflect your core values at work. A keystone habit is a routine that has ripple effects, touching multiple aspects of work life. For instance, If you value teamwork in your department, a keystone habit might be a 5-minute morning huddle where everyone shares their top priority for the day or any help they may need. It's a small practice, but it can improve alignment, reduce duplication, and foster camaraderie. Excuse me. If you lead a team that values continuous learning, you might institute habits like Friday learning share. I'm just making something up. Each Friday, one person informally shares something new that they learned that week. It's brief, it's regular, and it signals that learning isn't just encouraged, it's expected weekly. And it becomes part of, quote, how we operate. I'm like looking for the next. I know where I'm going, but it's going to go across the river, which means I might have to fight a bull. I'm not sure. So workplace habits aren't only about formal processes either, right? They include the social habits and norms. How do people habitually talk to each other? Is there a norm for giving feedback immediately, or do issues simmer for weeks? Misalignment with a value of honesty, perhaps. Are employees in a habit of talking or taking? Really? I didn't even see. I didn't hear the dramatic music. It's just there. And I'm just gonna drop everything. Ah, yeah. I have to literally do this. This bottom part is a new drop zone thing. Honestly, I'll probably just drop everything except for my heart rate and literally concentrate on the heart rate. Now, we'll never drop resin. Resin is a valuable commodity, at least in verse 2. And it's like you need a great quantity to do fletching. So it's very annoying. They needed, I'm hoping they address that balance in verse 3. But they may not. All right, let's go down this way. All right. Really? I hate that. I really hate that. I didn't think I was in range of that guy. But I guess I was. Alright. Okay. There we go. Where was I? Oh, I'll say one more time. Here's one of the habits and norms, right? Are employees in the habit of taking lunch breaks, or is there a silent expectation to eat at one's desk? Touching on the value of work-life balance or even well-being. An individual, even if you're not the boss, you can influence team habits by modeling and suggesting small changes. For example, if you value inclusion and notice meetings tend to be dominated by the lowest common denominator, no, I'm kidding. Dominated by the loudest voices, you might suggest a habit of explicitly asking quieter team members for their thoughts and implementing maybe a quick round robin in meetings, or to get to everybody, right? Everybody speaks, right? Because you're doing a round robin. Now, honestly, I found that they don't really work as well as one intends, but they're not bad. This little procedural habit can transform a team's culture to be more inclusive, truly reflecting the value rather than just paying it lip service, right? All right. let's not forget the role of environmental design in workplaces as well. Just as we can arrange our home environment to cue good habits, savvy organizations arrange the work environment to promote desired behaviors. A famous example, you might have heard of this in newspapers, magazines, blogs. Certain tech companies that value spontaneous collaboration have intentionally designed their offices with central coffee bars or lounge spaces to encourage chance encounters and cross-team chatter. The water cooler effect, essentially, as a habit catalyst. If innovation and cross-pollination are valued, the habit they will want to encourage is employees mingling and talking. Let's see if this is a... Yeah, I can't use it anymore. There we go. So the physical space is arranged to nudge that encounter, right? Maybe free coffee or snacks are placed in the common area for everyone, so everyone that walks through, right, can partake and sit down for a moment, right? And it creates a habitual gathering, a spontaneous habitual. On a smaller scale, if you personally value focus at work, but are, again, habitually distracted by people coming up to your desk, then you can apply environmental design at your desk. Perhaps scheduling focus hours or posting a polite sign that you're in deep work or do not disturb, essentially. Or using apps that turn off notifications, removing distraction cues. Microsoft Teams has Zoom has, right? If a company culture, or if the, I should say, if the values focus, the actual attribute of focus, right? I'm trying to control my character. Maybe a broader habit gets adopted, like no meeting Wednesdays, or team agreements from that state from 9 to 11 is quiet work time. These are collective habit changes that reflect and reinforce the value of focused productivity. Now, these are just suggestions on certain aspects of the productivity itself, but understand the productivity, we could go into a whole nother episode. And I would not recommend turning off notifications in certain circumstances. In others, yeah, for sure. So you might be thinking, this sounds great in theory, but changing habits, and this is where we're talking, the actual changing habits, in a workplace can be hard. It's not just you because that has to change. It's everyone. True, changing group habits often requires clear communication, leadership support, and buy-in. One approach that works is a frame habit changes as experiments or team challenges, right? So you want to frame habit changes as experiments or team challenges. I didn't really say that well, so I decided to say it again. So let me give you a for instance here. So for instance, suppose, right? Hey team, for the next 2 weeks, let's try a little experiment. No emails after 7 p.m. to support work-life balance, which we say we value. Let's see how it goes. By treating it as a temporary trial, you lower resistance. If people feel the benefit, more rested, happier evenings, the habit may stick and even become policy. Another approach is the buddy system. Pair up colleagues to hold each other accountable to the habit, like taking a 5-minute stretch break each hour or proofreading for each important document for if thoroughness is a value, right? So you got to select the value and then apply the change. I'm only giving examples. Social accountability can reinforce the routine until it becomes second nature. Let's bring in a concept of behavior design from B.J. Fogg, F-O-G-G. I think it's Fogg. Fogg, maybe? I don't know. But I didn't realize I was out of space, so we'll get the Fogg in a second. Oh, I dropped it myself. That's fine. I'll find it. Not liking it, but I'll find it. Where is it? It looks different as well. Which it did in verse 1. There's one. See how it's all different? That's all set. Just running to the street. All right. So let's return to Fogg. But let's move them into a organizational context. So Fogg's behavior model, which was B equals M times A times P, states that behavior happens when motivation, ability, and a prompt converge. In a workplace, if you want to design a new habit, behavior in a team, then you need all of those elements. Excuse me, can't talk today. Let me take a Zevia. Non-sponsored spot. But if you want to know what it is, it's a 0 calorie, 0 sugar, 0 sodium flavored soda. And it's carbonated. I mean, that's what I mean by soda. Get at them. Give me a can. Where am I? I'm gonna have to come up against these 4, which aren't big deals. Just really don't want to fight with my axe. You know what I'm saying? So basically, let me state this a little bit so I don't break it up. Let me read the entire note. In a workplace, if you want to design a new habit, which is behavior, in a team, you will need those elements. Are people motivated, the M, to do it? Do they understand why it matters, ideally aligning with their personal or team values? Do they have the ability? Is it simple? Do they have time, tools to do it? And then there is the prompt, a clear reminder or trigger in a flow of work. Consider a company that wants to instill the habit of ethical decision making in employees, a lofty notion of value alignment. It could remain abstract, be ethical, posters on the wall, or could it be solidified with a habit? Or anyway, for any big decision, pause, run through the short ethics checklist, or a short ethics checklist. Let me do this real quick. Can't believe I'm doing that. Okay, I'm gonna run out. Let's run over here. He's gonna get me at least once. And I'm gonna run over here. My axe skill's really good, so don't get me wrong on this, because the axe skill's not nothing to scoff at. However, let's get these over here. There we go. Now I got all these trees I can do. All right, so where am I? So you got this short ethics checklist. To apply Fogg, motivation is high if the company's culture truly emphasizes integrity. And employees know scandals will hurt everyone. Ability must be high. The ethics check should be a short, user-friendly list, not a burdensome form. Prompt could be something like adding a required checkbox or pop-up in the decision-making software that says, quote, did you consider the ethics checklist, yes or no? A timely trigger. With those in place, the habit of pausing to consider values before action can take root. Let's see. For another example, think Ubuntu, the African philosophy meaning I am because we are, emphasizing community and mutual care. If a workplace wants to embrace an Ubuntu style value of collective well-being, it might implement habits like mentorship or peer support systems. For instance, a mutual habit or help habit. Each week, the team, in team meetings, everyone shares one thing they need help with and one thing they can offer help on. It's a structured routine that fosters empathy, cooperation. I should say empathy and cooperation. Very much in line with Ubuntu's focus on compassion, respect, and community. Let's go over this one. Over time, such habits can break down silo mentalities and build a genuine community feeling, a community feeling at work, right? Where people habitually have each other's backs, living the we are because of each other principle. Everybody's that cog in the machine, right? One cog breaks down and machine will break down. Let's not ignore stress and well-being at work. Many people value work-life balance or mental health, but their work habits, work habits might be undermining those values. Consistent late hours, multitasking, not taking a vacation. I've done all of this. And trust me, overworking is not good for your health. So, leaders can set the tone by modeling habits that protect balance. That is, not sending emails on weekends. Actually using vacation days and taking a lunch break. One powerful habit some companies encourage is unplugged vacations. When you're off, you're truly off. No checking in, you're off. This requires a collective habit of cross-training and documentation so others can cover for you. When done, it sends a strong signal that we value your well-being. We're not just saying we have a norm that everyone disconnects on vacation. So before moving on to the next section, consider your own work or school context. What's one habit in that environment that you feel is highly positive and aligns with important values? And conversely, what's a toxic or unhelpful habitual practice that everyone seems to just do? Which conflicts with what you believe in? Which one, perhaps you realize there's a habit of gossip in the office, which clashes with your value of respect. Maybe you can gently steer conversations to be more constructive, or just simply not participate, subtly changing the norm. Or you notice that every meeting starts 10 minutes late, which conflicts with your value of respect for others' time. Maybe propose a habit of 5-minute transition buffer between meetings or a tiny penalty jar for late starts. Humor can sometimes help shift habits. And when you're doing the jar kind of thing, that jar the money should go to something to enforce that habit, right? If you're gonna allow that, let's allow it for everybody, and we're gonna enforce the habit for it, right? So the key takeaway for workplaces is habits and routines are the engine of culture. To build culture that reflects stated values, you have to design and reinforce routines that embody those values. And I think I'm out of room again. Yep. All right, so it doesn't look like I dropped any heart. Nope. Trying to get all this before the critters come back. Okay. So it doesn't happen by memo or mandate. Everybody, I think, listening can totally relate to that very statement. It's a daily rhythm. What gets discussed, what gets rewarded or frowned upon. The little rituals from how you start meetings to how you end the week. That creates the organization's true values in action. By mindful and intentional, or by being mindful and intentional, we can forge a work culture where the walk matches the talk. Let's do this one here. And if you're thinking this sounds idealistic, my workplace is far from this, remember that change often starts with a few people and a small experiment. Culture can evolve, one habit at a time. And when you see a workplace where everyone's daily actions clearly line up with a shared mission or values, it's beautiful. It's energizing. People feel trust, purpose, and unity. We can strive for that. Doesn't mean we'll achieve it, but we can certainly strive for it, right? All right, let's get into MMORPGs. Habits and values in the gaming. I can tell you a lot of mine. I wanted to generate this character like a D&D character, so he has a backstory and everything. So now it's a little bit different, but it's fun. The context of MMORPGs, or massively multiplayer online role-playing games, for those of you not familiar, you might be wondering, why talk about online games in the same breath as personal life and workplace? Well, firstly, let me get rid of some of these. I'm getting close. And here we go. Harvesting these like nobody's business. Well, firstly, games are a big part of life for millions, and often a microcosm of society within their own communities and cultures. Secondly, games are designed systems of habits. They're literally built to engage you in repeated actions. Think daily quests, leveling up, what I'm doing now, guild routines, clan routines, trying to get as much heartwood as you can. Grinding, essentially, is what what I'm getting at. So this makes them a perfect sandbox, right? Is that a boar? Yeah, it's a boar. It makes them a perfect sandbox to examine how habits form and how they reflect values, or sometimes exploit values. And finally, it's just plain interesting. Many of us who play games find lessons in them that apply to real life. So let's explore habits and values on the digital frontier. And I forgot to give you a technique, guys. And that's on me. But I can. Oh, wait. I didn't want to do it that way. What is the heartwood? Heartwood. There it is. All right. So you take, if you're down slots, you can split your stacks, right? So now there's no way I'm picking up sapwood. I'm only picking up heart, right? So I don't have to keep dropping stuff, and that's fine. I failed. And you can do that multiple times. So I would not have had to keep dropping stuff. So annoying. Alright. Here we go. So, in an MMORPG, like, say, World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy IV, or Pax Dei, what I'm playing right now, fun fact, it shares the same name as the podcast. Go figure. Anyway, often players fall into daily routines. And I am one of them. Not unlike real life, right? If you have things like daily quests or tasks, scheduled raids on certain nights, checking in with your guild mates, creating craft items, or grinding experience points, these are habits encouraged by the game design. For example, many games have a daily login reward. Log in each day and get a small prize. By the way, some countries outlaw those little daily rewards. Interesting. Let's see if there's heartwood. Nope. I'm only missing 3 heartwood, so I'm gonna go back to my house. Yeah, I did some research. I think Korea is one of them, daily rewards, and there's a certain thing in China as well. There's multiple countries, not just them. Those are 2 I remember off the top of my head, but there's plenty of countries that actually tell gaming companies you can't do this or you can't do that. Sometimes gaming companies just simply go into that country or sell into that country, depending on how difficult it is or how they perceive the difficulty. Anyway, I digress. So these are habits that, for example, many games have. I just said that. Sorry. So basically, when you do the daily login thing, I'm just throwing things out there now. This is a classic external cue to form a habit. The game is prompting you to come back every day. This aligns with the game developer's value or goal of player engagement. There's nothing insidious about it. Now, there could be, but for the most part, not really. As a player, you might adopt the habit of logging in every lunch break because you don't want to miss the reward. So you log in, you get the reward, you log out, and then you may or may not be able to play that night, right? So you log in during lunch and you continue every day, right? You can do I'll do this. I'm over here and I'll sharpen my axe. Oop, past it. With the smith workbench. Then make a repair item. Back. Yeah, that area that I was with is strong in heartwood, so I'll just get back there. So, anyway. As a matter of fact, there's probably some trees over this way that are not good. So here's the interesting bit. If it's not interesting enough. Sometimes our values as a person and the habits of the game encourages, the game encourages the values can clash, right? Or they can align. If you deeply value moderation and real life responsibilities, but the game is engineered to make you want to log in every day for 2 hours, you might feel tension. On the other hand, if you value mastery and improvement, the habit of practicing a difficult in-game skill daily, it can actually be satisfying, right? And in line with your value, albeit in a virtual environment, but it's still your value. Your value doesn't go away just because you're in a virtual environment. So let's look at the social side of gaming. In a multiplayer game, you often join a guild or clan, essentially a team or community. Each guild can have its own culture, often unwritten. Okay. Perhaps your guild values helping newcomers. If so, you might see habits like experienced players routinely spending half an hour with newbies in the newbie zone, answering questions or helping with low level quests. It becomes a norm. Every time you log on, you check if any newbies need a hand. And I would do that with Pax Dei, but honestly, I can't because sometimes this is the home valley. This is the safest part of the game. Just FYI. And this habitual action clearly reflects the guild's value of friendliness and mentorship, right? On the flip side, imagine a guild that values competitive success at all costs. They might normalize habits like long practice runs or strict schedules, or maybe even a habit to loot first and ask questions later. For instance, grabbing valuable items from for oneself in a dungeon, normally called ninja looting, without asking the team, as long as it improves their character's power. That habit indicates a value of personal gain over cooperation. Some players might feel uncomfortable with that if their personal value is fairness and camaraderie. So they might leave that guild for one whose habitual practices, like fair loot distribution systems, that is, rotating picks or using a point system, might align better with their values. All right, let me try that trick, and I need to drink anyway, so good. So basically, what I'm doing is I'm going to drop these because I don't want to carry these, and I'm going to use the shift button, split. And I'll just continue to do that until all my slots are filled up. And the only thing I can get is purple. Now, honestly, one stack of this hardwood should be able to fill up my inventory. So right now, the game developers have decided not to extend your backpacks, where you can craft a better one with more slots, etc., etc. Not sure why they chose not to. Maybe they will, but not. But it does make for you having to go home, and especially when you're far away from home, when your slots get used up, it's a real pain. Game here, little gaming strategy for this. Now, honestly, if you're farming like I'm farming, this strategy is fine. But if you're not farming for just one thing, then this strategy won't work. You don't want to do this, right? And that's obvious. That's one of those things that you definitely need. Because you need your backpack slots because they're limited. Yay! I actually, I'm playing Enshrouded as well, just as a gaming platform. In this platform, or this context, I like to disseminate as much of the ancient knowledge and research as possible. However, you don't necessarily. Well, I'm not doing that in Shrouded. I'm just playing the game. having a good time. Kind of like what I'm doing now, because this is taking forever. Is it a good idea? Is if you want to just pick up one type of thing and don't want to have to drop anything else, which is, in my mind, this is brilliant. Come on. You know what I'm saying. I mean, I probably heard like, what the heck is this guy going off on a tangent where I want to talk about MMORPGs? All right, so everything is filled. Good. Now I can go about my day. All right. So, and you don't want to lose players to your clan's values or your guild's values. Players are good. You want to keep players, right? MMORPGs don't get played by a lot of people, but you want to definitely keep as many as possible. And YouTube might be slow tonight. See how I didn't pick up any of those? I'm just picking up the heart rate. So, okay. So, in fact, many longtime gamers can tell you that finding their right guild is often about values alignment. Do these people approach the game the way I believe is right? And you figure that out by observing their habits. Do they habitually greet each other when coming online, which is a value of friendliness? Do they joke around, or are they very formal? Fun versus seriousness, right? Do they have scheduled events and everyone shows up on time? The value is commitment. These are habits, and they reveal the underlying values, right? Just like in a workplace, a guild's culture, it's shared habits. That's what it is. And because participation is voluntary, it's a game after all, people will gravitate to groups whose routine behaviors resonate with them. Do I have any others? Yeah, let's go across. What I don't want to do is get a type on doors again. These should last about 25 minutes, so not all, but that one I just ate. Okay. Now, on an individual level, think about your own gaming habits. If you play at all, some people treat an MMO like a second job. They have a strict routine. Daily quests at 6, farming materials at 7, dungeon run at 8, etc. This can reflect values like discipline and achievement. They want to hit those goals, level up fast, etc. Basically, very meticulous in their planning. But it could indicate perhaps the game is taking priority over their other values, like family time, if they're ignoring dinner with the kids to do these dailies. Others might be more casual, logging in with when friends are on, valuing social experience over progression. Neither style is inherently good or bad. Nothing, but it's worth asking. Are my gaming habits reflecting how I truly want to engage with this hobby? If you say you play games to relax and connect with friends, the value of leisure and friendship, but you find yourself logging in and out of obligation, right? Or FOMO to grind solo for some reward. Habitual compulsion that maybe doesn't feel fun anymore. There's a mismatch. Being mindful of that can help you adjust. Maybe skip the dull daily grind if it's not actually aligned with why you value gaming. Instead, focus on the parts of the game that do match your goals, like logging on when your buddies are online, or online to go on adventures together, right? Gaming developers have basically become masters of habit formation. That's psychologists, right? Some might say manipulation. Anyway, they use what BJ Fogg calls behavioral design, or behavior design tactics everywhere. Clear prompts like quests and alert, variable rewards, which are loot boxes, rare drops that give dopamine hits, encourage reputation, and progression systems like levels or experience points that make improvement very incremental and addictive. For players, it's useful to recognize these for what they are: tools to hook you in. I'm not demonizing anything. I love games, but these loops can be very enjoyable. But when we reflect on our values, we might ask, are our gaming habits serving our values? Fun, relaxation, friendship, challenge, creativity, etc. Or are they just serving the game's bottom line, or our compulsions? There's a concept in games which we mentioned before, the grind. Repetitive actions to achieve something. Some people love the grind. They find a zen in it, or see it as dedication, a value perseverance, right? Others hate it, but feel forced to do it to keep up with it. If you find yourself in the latter camp, one strategy is to gamify your values-aligned habits in real life, the way games gamify the grind. For instance, if you realize you're grinding in the game for virtual rewards, but neglecting, say, exercise, which you do value, you can try to turn exercise into a game for yourself with point systems or challenges, or by doing it with friends, like a raid the gym, so to speak, right? It's like taking the habit hacking techniques of games and applying them to real life, where the stakes are your health and happiness. In fact, a lot of habit tracking apps nowadays use game-like features, XP points, streaks, badges, etc. A nod to how effective those mechanisms are. Also, let's consider identity in games. Many MMORPGs allow you to create a character, pick a race, class, skills, essentially an identity in that world. Over time, players often feel attached. I'm a level 50 healer, or I'm a crafty trader. You develop pride in the identity, and the habits in the game follow suit. The healer logs in, ready to respond to guildmates needing help in a fight. The trader checks the marketplace daily. It's fascinating because identity-based habit formation in virtual, it is identity-based habit formation in a virtual setting. If we only cared about the clarity for our real-life identities as diligent as our avatars. But here's another thought. You can use your game persona to explore value-aligned behavior. Here you go. For instance, sorry, I was reading one of my notes. Maybe in real life, you find it hard to be assertive, but in gameplay, you actually play a guild leader who values courage and speaks up. The habit of leading a weekly guild meeting in-game might actually help gain confidence to speak up more at work or school. This isn't so far-fetched. Skills and habits can transfer when the underlying psychology is similar. The game might just be training wheels for the real-world habit. I knew people who say leading a tough raid taught them leadership and teamwork skills when they used it professionally. The values of strategy, preparation, and clear communication in a tough raid encounter are not so different from those needed in a work project. And the habit of nightly planning sessions or debriefs in a game can translate to better habits at work. Conversely, let me find another tree. Conversely, this tree right here. Be aware of your carp. No, I can't say it. Oh my god. Compartmentalize. Yeah. Don't box your values. God, I have the note. I just can't tonight. Anyway, what are we heading on? What are we heading? Hour and 5 minutes. We're good. We're good. Anyway, some might behave honorably in real life, but then under anonymity of the game develops toxic habits, maybe trash talking or griefing other players, which in normal life would violate their values of kindness or respect. Why does this happen? Well, perhaps because the game environment doesn't punish those behaviors or even reward them. A competitive game might tacitly reward ruthlessness, but over time, if you spend hours a day in the virtual world acting contrary to your values, it can affect you. It's like practicing being someone you're not proud of. This is a subtle point. Habits of behavior, even in a fictional setting, still reinforce neural pathways and attitudes. So it's worth aligning your gaming code of conduct with your real life ethics. Many guilds have codes of honor: no cheating, respect all players, help the weak, which echo real values. Sticking to such a code in the game can make your experience more fulfilling and prevent internal conflict. Remember, as the saying goes, character is what you do when no one's watching. And the anonymity of online play, you are still watching you. Right? Everything's anonymous. You're still watching yourself. I always bring up golf because golf is a great. Let's do this. There we go. And now I can. I'm practicing skinning. I don't really care about the course. I just need the skinning practice. So one more fun aspect, gamifying habit change. Since we're talking games, I'll mention that some people turn their life goals into an RPG. I'm gonna see. Still going. This one's for stamina, so definitely not. There are apps like Habitica that literally make your to-do list quests and give you XP and loot for completing habits. This can be super motivating if you're the kind of person who values achievement and enjoys game mechanics. Using a quest log for your chores or study task might sound silly, but if it gets you doing the thing and aligning with your value of responsibility or growth, why not? The point is, you can take the habit principles from the games, clear goals, feedback, reward, progression, and consciously apply them to build positive routines in life. Instead of getting hooked on a game's daily quest, design a daily quest that matters in your life. Maybe even treat yourself to a reward upon completion, even if it's just a victory dance or sharing an achievement with a friend. So, in summary, for gaming, gamers are a powerful mirror, or I should say games and gaming are powerful mirrors and laboratory for habit. They demonstrate how small incentives and cues can create strong routines, sometimes bordering on the addictive. Within games, aligning your play habits with your personal values, why you play, and how you treat others can make the experience meaningful rather than just compulsive. Guilds and gaming communities show the importance of shared habits with your personal values, right? Why you play and how you treat others can make the experience meaningful rather than just, I just said that. Where was I? So the guilds and game communities show the importance of shared habits, right, and culture, much like any community. We can take lessons from the game design to shape our real habits. Essentially, become the game designer of your own life, setting up the quests and rewards that will lead you to live your values. If you do that, life becomes a bit more like a game, challenging but fun. And every habit is like gaming XP toward the person you want to be. So before we move on to, I think, the conclusion, or I should say the outro. I didn't want to do that. Here we go. One more delightful thought. In many role-playing games, characters have an alignment or reputation. It depends on which game. But maybe you're known as a hero, where you have a light, dark side meter that shifts based on your actions. In game, this is how the world recognizes your values. In real life, we don't have that floating reputation meter, but we do build a reputation through consistent habits. Someone might be known as the helpful neighbor, or reliable coworker, or sadly, the guy who always flakes out. These reputations form because of repeated actions. It's our real life alignment system. Think of it this way. If an RPG, if life were an RPG, give it a second here. There we go. Never mind. Okay. What title are you earning through your habits? And is it one that matches your values, or the character you want to roleplay in this world? The beautiful thing is, unlike in a static game, we can always change our trajectory. We can start making different choices, and over time, our alignment in the eyes of others and ourselves will shift. So you can grind not for virtual gold or XP, but for virtue and value alignment. Every day, a small quest that slowly builds your true character. All right, let me grab this other tree. Wow. I will safely say that what I did to just get heartwood with that inventory thing worked swimmingly. Okay, so that wraps up episode 150, where we faced the reality that even the best forged habits sometimes get bent out of shape. Remember, it's not about never slipping up, right? It's about how you recover, realign, and keep moving forward. So in the next episode, we'll bring this entire journey to a close. We'll reflect on the legacy of your choices and the habits you create. Not just for you, by the way, but for everybody around you. Because remember, you influence everyone around you. I'll share some of my favorite prompts and exercises to help you lock in what you've learned and set the stage for the next chapter of your life. So look for those on X. Also look for I'm working on another music video, and I just put out another short today. To keep looking out for those as well. I try to do as much content as possible, just to sometimes have fun, and sometimes to have fun while trying to bring people into the age of reason. Once again, a lot of people, at least in my view, you don't have to leave the age of reason and never go back to it. So I want to go back to the age of reason. That's part of the goal of this channel. Take ancient philosophy, teach ancient philosophy all around the world, doesn't matter the philosopher. Align it with modern thinkers and modern research. And one day, we'll have a society built on intelligence and empathy and virtue. It'll be fun. And it'll be a world where there'll be a high trust society and a high communicative society. Communicative? I don't know. We'll be able to communicate with each other a lot better. Let's just say it that way. All right. With that said, I probably will. I don't think I. Yeah, I'm not gonna put this up in time. So I'll just do that. And go to my homestead. And then we'll log off for tonight, and hopefully I'll be on tomorrow. I do have a valuable family myself, so I need to attend to them. I wanted to take them to the movie, so I gotta find time. Probably not at night. It'll probably be a daytime showing. But at any rate, thanks for joining. I hope you learned a little. I shouldn't say that. I hope this episode resonated with you. And if you have a story about realigning your own habits, I'd love to hear it. X, LinkedIn, on the comments section, doesn't matter. Send them, like I said, it doesn't matter where you put it. But put it like a hashtag so everybody recognizes the conversation, so we can all respond to the same conversation. So until then, I guess, keep forging those routines, stay true to your values, and remember, every day is a chance to start again. Until tomorrow, or maybe the next day, not sure. Have a great day, have a great night, no matter where you are in the world, or when you're listening to this. Thank you for stopping by. Remember to hit that notification bell, share the show with your friends. It helps the, I think it feeds the, I think they changed the algorithm. But if you're here, thanks for sticking it out. And hopefully, if you have any questions, throw them to me, and I'll try to answer them best of my ability. Until then, we'll see you tomorrow.
With every step, a lesson learned. From fire's heat to the fields I've turned. The blade and bow, the forge and flame. I sharpen my skills, I play the game. Each day brings a challenge I must face. I train my hands with careful grace. From alchemy's art to the hunter's way, I'll find the strength to seize the day. I carve my path, I walk the line, in the shadow of the ancient sign. Through trial and toil, I'll find my way, learning more with each passing day. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight. From the herbs I find to the iron I mold, each lesson learned is a story told. The stars above, they guide my hand as I hone my craft. I take my stand in the quiet woods, in the mountains chill. I push myself, I shape my will with each new tool and every lore. I'm stronger now than I was before. I carve my path, I walk the line in the shadow of the ancient sign. Through trial and toil, I'll find my way, learning more with each passing day. The skill of survival, the will to thrive in a world where the strong survive. I face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight. The road is long, but I won't turn back. The lessons I learned keep me on track. With each new skill, the stronger I grow. In the face of the storm, I let my courage show. I've tasted defeat, I felt the sting, but I rise again with each new spring. For knowledge is power, and wisdom the key. I'm forging my path, I'm breaking free. The skill of survival, the will to thrive in a world where the strong survive. I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight.